Good morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Monday. It is the 16th day of August 2021. I hope you're healthy today, COVID free. I hope your family is also healthy and COVID free, and that the needs of your family and yourself in terms of food and shelter and clothing and health are being met. Blessings upon those that work in the healthcare field, trying to save lives. Blessings also upon those that pick up garbage for us to keep our places clean. Blessings upon those that make deliveries for us for our convenience. Double blessings on those that are trying to deliver and help boys and girls, men and women and children from the sex slavery, child prostitution, human trafficking, pedophilia, child molestation, and curses upon those that cause all of these things to happen and support them. Finally, blessings on the homeless and those that are trying to help the homeless. 600,000 men, women, and children and families in the United States that are in the street, and millions around the world in similar or worse conditions. Please pray for the people of Haiti. Over 1,200 souls perished in the earthquake that happened this past weekend. More than 5,000 were injured in that earthquake, and there are thousands that are now homeless in Haiti. If you can do anything, do it. In the very least, say prayers for those people. There were a couple of basketball games over the weekend. Our New York Knicks on Friday played the Detroit Pistons, and on Saturday night they played the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, we had talked about before, of course, this is Summer League, so we can't take it but so serious. But what we're trying to see in the Summer League is development. We're trying to see development, especially from our second-year players, Emmanuel Quickly and Obi Toppin. We're also trying to see what our new guys, what they got. Quentin Grimes, Deuce McBride, Roku Jacobitis. We're trying to see what they got, okay? And Jericho Sims, of course. We would have liked to have seen Luka Vildosa, but he is out. He's been out now. He's been out injured most of the Summer League. He played a couple of minutes in the first game, didn't play very well. He played a couple of minutes in the second game, didn't play very well. And then we found out that he had a problem with his heel or his foot, and now he's out. I don't know what the Knicks are going to do with him, but this is the type of thing that'll cause a guy not to be on the roster. This guy's trying to make a roster, especially with a bunch of hungry players. As we said, Summer League is not only what we just mentioned in terms of looking for development of our guys and the new guys. There's guys that are hungry to make rosters, and this is dog eat dog, in the Summer League. So I don't know what's going to happen to Luka Vildosa. That being said, Friday against Detroit, the Knicks lost the game. And it's not a big deal, the record, as much. You want to see them win, obviously, because that's an experience that you want your players to have, the experience of winning. But they lost the game on Friday. They played against Cade Cunningham. And Cade Cunningham, as we said, I had said, and I'm still saying, Cade Cunningham's a game changer type of player. Okay, he really is. I talked about having to move up in the draft to get a Scotty Barnes. Well, Cade Cunningham would have been another guy, to move up and get. He is a game changer type of player, along with Sadiq Bey, who was really solid last year, first team all rookie. You talking about those two? Killian Hayes, still got a ways to go, but I still see some potential with him. But Cade Cunningham, Sadiq Bey, with the team that they already have with Jeremy Grant that they've added and a couple of other pieces they've added, they're going to be fighting for the 10th to play in. They're going to be in the running to fight for that play-in because that's how good I think Cade Cunningham is. And that night, of course, he was 24 points. He was 7 boards. He was 3 assists, 7 of 10 from 3, 8 of 14 from the field. Defense as well, playmaking. This kid is the deal. He's the game changer. He's the overall number 1 pick, and he's worthy of that. He's a franchise-changing player. So they were going against him and his team and Sadiq Bey and all of that. And so there was no Jericho Sims, and that was significant Friday. The Knicks played at center Reed Travis, and, it was bad. It was pretty bad. Reed Travis was 0 for 8 overall. He had 5 rebounds, 5 offensive rebounds, but he was minus 17. That was team worst. So he really was not good Friday night, and that made a difference. That made a difference. You saw the difference when you have a Jericho Sims in there and when you don't. And so, and Miles McBride, he was 2 of 14, 0 for 7 from 3. Terrible shooting game. But if you watched the game, the defense was there. Okay. And that's what I like about Deuce McBride. He's always going to bring the defense. That's never going to be lacking with him. So he's always going to bring the defense. You're always going to see that. And that's what we want to see. He had 2 steals along with 4 assists. He had 6 personal fouls that day. He was playing aggressive defense, but overall, obviously, it wasn't a good game for him. But I like the fact that his floor, see, people comparing him to Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart is an established professional NBA player, multiple time NBA or NBA defense, right? So you can't take away from anything from Marcus Smart. But in terms of his ceiling of McBride, it's way higher than Marcus Smart. His floor is Marcus Smart. That's his floor because he's always going to bring that defense, and he's always in that defense is tremendous. McBride's defense really is elite defense. So his floor is Marcus Smart, but his ceiling I don't even know because everybody's comparing different players to him. But you know why? It's hard to get a gauge on him because you hardly see a guy that plays that level of defense that has the ability to shoot the rock. And he just, he shot the ball terribly. He only had 4 points, but 2 of 14 from the field. He shot the ball terribly. That was his worst outing of the summer league. But when you look at the rest of the summer league games, he was efficient, very efficient. So that was really an outlier for him. So that was not a good game. And then of course, Quick was terrible. 4 of 18, also 2 of 7 from the field. He had 9 assists. He had 15 points. He had 7 personal fouls. He was also being very aggressive. But his shooting was horrible. And maybe his groin affected that because apparently he sat the next game with groin soreness. And maybe that was effect. But and I don't think you'll see him. The Knicks play tonight against the Atlanta Hawks. I don't think you're going to see Quickly again. So that was that. Grimes, 6 of 10 from the field, 3 of 6 from 3, 7 boards, 3 assists. The thing about Grimes that I'm really excited about and that I really am looking forward to as a New York Knick, and hopefully he stays a Knick for his career and he has a long and healthy career, is he's a winning player. He's a winning player. He may shoot the ball well. I think most nights you're going to see once he gets established in the NBA, he's going to be a good shooter. But all around, he brings the motor. He, again, is always playing defense. He's contributing to winning. See, he had 9 rebounds. No, he had 7 boards and 3 assists. He contributes to winning. And play, he does a little playmaking on top of it. So he has a really nice all-around game, from the and he's a guard, right? So he's going to play the 2 guard, and he can also guard 1s, 2s, and 3s. And a 2 guard is really his natural position, I think, but he can also play the 3 if he needs to. But he's really a 2 guard. A guy that rebounds the ball as well as he does at his position is really good. Like I said, to me, he just reminds me of Sidney Moncrief because of the fact that he does all of that. Sidney Moncrief was like that: defense, rebounding, scoring. Sidney Moncrief's era was different because Moncrief was an 80s type of guy, late 70s, early 80s. So the 3-point shot wasn't as prominent as it is right now. So that's why, I don't know how good Sidney Moncrief would have been if the 3-point shot was a thing and he had to learn how to shoot it. But Grimes, does those things. Plus he shoots the 3 very well. Again, he was 3 of 6 from the field. Obi Toppin. And again, I still say the same that I've been saying from the beginning. There's no player that the Summer League is benefiting more than Obi Toppin because, he needed those minutes to, and I'm starting to think, which I was a little disappointed. I thought that the Knicks would already know what they have with Obi. But I'm now understanding that they needed to see this to be sure. See, what I'm saying is he played 37 minutes. He's been playing over 30 minutes a game. And they needed to see what his response, I guess, in summer league. Well, he showed him 31 points. He was 13 of 20 from the field, 2 of 5 from three, 3 of 4 from the line, 9 rebounds, 3 steals, 2 blocks. Obi can play. Obi got all-star potential. He is compared to Amari Stoudemire, and that is an accurate, I feel, a very accurate comparison. He moves like Amari. He's got the explosiveness that Amari had. His game is very similar to Amari Stoudemire. But the difference, the very key difference between an Amari Stoudemire and an Obi Toppin, Amari Stoudemire's prime years were played under Mike D'Antoni, the 7 seconds or less offense with very little defense. Okay. And so Amari was never a good defender. He was never a good movement laterally. And so the 7 seconds or less offense that Mike D'Antoni played fit Amari. And then he played with a point guard in Steve Nash. That's, a Hall of Fame point guard, 2-time MVP. So that is a major difference because Tom Thibodeau and Mike D'Antoni are like night and day, completely different coaches. And I'm not knocking either coach. I'm not knocking D'Antoni's style, but Obi is not going to be playing 7 seconds or less. And he's going to have to play defense. Now, to me, this makes it possible for Obi to be even a better player than an Amari Stoudemire because he's being forced to do what Amari never was. That is, play defense. Okay? So he has to learn schemes. He has to be alert. He doesn't have to be all NBA defense, but he's got to be at least adequate. He cannot be a black hole, which he's not. Okay, so he's not a tremendous defender right now, but he can't make mental mistakes. And that's what he was doing last year. He was making mental mistakes. That was, I think, costing him minutes on the floor. I see that he's learned from that. Okay, he's learned, he's way more aware. And again, that's why Tom came at him earlier in this week to say, I need you to be more of a leader. You need to be leading these guys, showing them what to expect from a Tom Thibodeau coach at Knicks team. Him and Emmanuel quickly. So you had that, and he has shown that. So now I can see scenarios where you're going to see him. He's got to get more minutes. And in fact, what I read yesterday, I forgot where I read it, whose it was, but there was a phone call apparently from Julius Randle to Obi Toppin. Now, Julius has been supporting Obi Toppin the whole time. He's been working with him from last summer, okay, helping him. And so Julius has been quite the leader, very good with Obi, especially. So he calls Obi from Texas, apparently, and he told Obi, I'm going to need you. I'm going to need you in there with me helping. See, so Randle led the league in minutes last year. Randle probably averaged, I think, 35 minutes, 40 minutes almost a game, 36 minutes, somewhere in that vicinity. I think you're going to see a reduction in his minutes. Not a tremendous reduction, but enough so that Obi can get 18 to 20 minutes. Okay. And that would be very good for Obi. So you reduce Randle's minutes to say 32. Okay. It's a 48-minute game. So you got 16 minutes at the 4 for Obi. But then you play Obi and Randle together, for a few minutes each game. Maybe you play Obi, Randle, and you put, 3. You go with a small ball lineup. And I don't see that that's not going to be possible. I think that's possible with Tom Thibodeau. You're going to get a Obi, a Randle, and maybe, you get 3 guards in there, or 3 guards, small forwards type guys in there. Maybe Kemba and Evan Fournier and RJ, or Kemba and Grimes. You might get something like that. Or Alec Burks. You get 3 ball handlers with Obi and Julius. I can see a 5-minute run like that. You can get 5 minutes a game out of that. So that would get Obi on the floor for more than 20 minutes a game. That would rest Randle, right? So you're going to get Randle, get some rest. If coming down to 32 minutes a game, it's still a lot of minutes, but it's not what he did last year. So that's going to help. So I can see them figuring this out to get Obi on the floor for more minutes. I can see that. I can see that coming. So, yeah, I'm very excited about what we can do with Obi Toppin. As I told y'all before, I'm still concerned because he is too good. He really is to me. I see a guy that's too good to sit on the bench and come off the bench and play limited minutes. He's got to get some minutes. He is really the talent of an NBA starter. And so, and he's willing to play the bench role, but you got to play him minutes, not just because he needs the minutes to be a better player. He's going to help us. The more you give Obi Toppin minutes and he gets in the flow of a game, he's going to really help us. And then, of course, if the Knicks are really going to play their cards right, last year, Julius played 71 out of 72 games. I would not do that this year. I would still play him 72 games out of 82, maybe 75, and let Obi start 5 or 6 games, right? And let Randall rest a couple of games. That, again, it's only going to help us, because the more minutes you get for this kid, the better it is for all the Knicks and for him and everybody. So, I'm excited about the possibilities for Obi. That night he finished with 31 points. Tremendous game, man. Tremendous game. Another guy, now, we talked about Luka Vildosa and talked about now he's not playing. But there was a guy that for both Friday's game and Saturday's game that stood out to me aside from our core group that we're talking about. And that was MJ Walker. I was, he was 1 of 4. He had 3 points. He didn't really show a lot on Friday, but he just steady, fundamentally sound. I was wondering who this guy is. Well, it was Saturday night's game, watching the game, and they said he came out of Florida State. Oh, that makes sense. So, Raw Hebrew is a big fan of Leonard Hamilton. I'm a big fan of Leonard. I've been following his career from when he was at University of Miami. He was head coach of University of Miami. And I've always liked Leonard Hamilton. He coached in the NBA apparently for the Wizards once, but I don't even remember that. But I remember him at University of Miami. He brought that program from nothing, and now at Florida State, he's doing the same thing. And when the kids come out of Leonard Hamilton's program, they can play defense. They're going to play defense. They're going to be fundamentally sound. They're going to know how to play basketball at a high level. And so this guy, MJ Walker, on Saturday night when they played Cleveland, 3 of 4 from the field, 3 of 3 from 3, 5 rebounds. He had 2 steals. He had 9 points, and he just played a solid game. He wasn't forcing his game. He was fitting in, with the other players. How many minutes did he play? He played 20 minutes, and he was just solid. I liked him, man. Defensively solid, offensively solid. See, so if this is what I'm talking about. You're going to get a hungry guy like that, and then you got Vildosa not playing. You see what I'm saying? So, this is what we're dealing with. So I don't know if Vildosa is going to be on this roster. I don't know if he is. I don't want to cast him off because y'all always talking about I hated him. I was just saying he wasn't the second coming of Magic Johnson. Some people was tripping like he was going to be. Some people even think he was going to be our starting point guard. I was saying people were getting carried away. That's all I'm saying. But I don't hate the dude, right? I don't say the dude can't play in the NBA, but I'm saying he's on the verge right now, going back to Argentina because he's not played. His contract is not guaranteed. And you got a guy like a MJ Walker out of Florida State hungry for a spot. Okay? MJ Walker played 4 years. And he was overshadowed by guys like Jonathan Isaac. He played with Jonathan Isaac. You're talking about Scotty Barnes. You're talking about Devin Vassell. Guys like that. Terrence Mann. He played with all those guys. And he comes out now after 4 years. He's a solid player. That's what I mean. Vildosa might lose his spot or something like that. Then they just signed Dwayne Bacon, also of Florida State, to a contract. I don't know if it's a camp invite contract or what it is, but Dwayne Bacon has also, as we know, played with Kemba Walker on the Hornets, and he's also played with Evan Fournier on the Magic. And Dwayne Bacon's a solid player. Again, he's not a tremendous three-point shooter. Dwayne Bacon's not a shooter. He's a shooting guard that can't shoot, but defense. He plays defense. IQ. He has that. He's a solid player. He's a slasher. Okay. It's going to be hard for Luka to make this team. That's the way I'm seeing it. I don't see how they're going to let a guy like a Bacon walk and keep a Vildosa that's hardly played. Especially when we're deep now. We're deep at the point guard spot. You're talking about Derrick Rose, Kemba Walker, Deuce McBride, IQ. We're deep at the point guard spot. Okay, we really are. We're deep there. And you're not even dealing with, they just sent Rokas Jokic back to Spain to go play in Barcelona. And to me, Jokic played better than than Luka did. He just played better. He just showed himself better than Luka did in terms of this week, if you're going to judge it on this week. So, yeah. But anyway, they played Cleveland. There was no IQ. There was also no Isaac Okoro, and there was no Evan Mobley for Cleveland. But whatever. You play the game, right? So on Saturday night, Obi again was solid, but he was 8 of 20 from the field, 3 of 3 from the line, 2 of 4 from 3, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block. He had 5 personal fouls. To me, the 5 personal fouls are him trying to play defense. That's what I'm saying. He's trying to play defense. It was some stupid fouls they called on him too, though. The refs also added to that. There was some dumb calls. And like I said, he was getting beat up, and it was good that he was getting beat up. It was good because he got to be tough like that. You got to be able to play through contact. You got to be able to play through not getting the calls, right? So it was good that he did that. He had 21 points, showed himself very well again. The energy, the thing is that this, you got with Obi, you have several ways that he can hurt a team, the opposite team, that he can be a threat. He runs the floor like a gazelle, right? I mean, really, he runs the floor like a gazelle. You get a point guard that gets him to rock, he's going to look really good. And right now, we got 4 point guards that can get him to rock. Elfrid Payton played most of the minutes at point guard last year, and he was terrible at finding Obi Toppin when he was running the floor. Terrible. But now, Kemba's going to find him. D. Rose did find him last year and will continue to find him. McBride was throwing the Lonzo Ball type full court passes to him all summer league. And of course, IQ also. So that he's dangerous running the floor. You want to do a pick and roll, and you want him to, he can be the roll man and flush it on you. He could do that. You want to play the pick and roll, pop, and you want to back up off him, he could hit the shot. Okay. You want him to be a stretch 4. He's already shown he could do that. Okay. Now, what we're seeing this summer in this summer league that I think he had, but now he's really perfected it, is his low post game. He's got a nice couple of go-to moves now. Drop step, bank shot. He got a nice couple of go-to moves on the low block, especially on the right side of the court. So now you got several ways that this cat can hurt you. What I just described is game. He's got game. Okay. He has the athletic ability, but now he has game. He has go-to moves. He has ways he could kill you. Okay. And we got the point guard that he needs to play with to get the maximum out of him. So, like I said, the Summer League has benefited Obi Toppin more than any player on the Knicks, and it's going to benefit our Knicks in terms of wins, which is going to be good. So Obi again played a solid game. He wasn't the star of the game now, but he played good. Now with Jericho Sims, of course he played almost 30 minutes, played 29 minutes that game. He had 8 points. He had 9 rebounds. He had 3 offensive boards. He had 2 assists. He was only 2 or 3. He only shot 2 or 3. This is the thing about Jericho Sims. I mentioned Buck Williams with him, right? But I'll be honest. I don't want to put a ceiling on Jericho Sims because I don't know how good he could really be. Obviously, with that type of athletic ability, he could really, you don't know what he's going to be. Now, my understanding from what I saw from him, from what I read about him, from what people have said about him, he struggles from the foul line. He struggled from the foul line all 4 years at Texas. But he has obviously worked on that because even though he's not great from the foul line, he shot 67%. He was 4 of 6 from the line for Saturday night. And I think overall he's been over 60% in the summer league. I don't know that for a fact. I haven't looked at it, but just from the eye test. Somebody can check me on that. But I think he's been over 60% from the foul line in the summer league. He's going to work hard on that. So I don't want to put a ceiling on him, even though he's 22, going to probably be 23. He played 4 years at Texas. Some guys develop later, right? So with that type of athletic ability, I don't want to put a ceiling on him, but I can see him spending most of his time in the G League this year. And the reason is Mitchell Robinson. I was just seeing Sports Vibes TV where he interviewed Mitchell Robinson. He saw him in Vegas. Mitchell Robinson wasn't wearing a boot. He said Mitchell Robinson's foot looked good. So Mitchell Robinson, we can expect to be ready for camp. Did you see how buff Mitchell was? They showed him in another picture. Dude looks like he's been working on his body. So I'm expecting Mitchell Robinson is going to be our starting 5 at the 5 spot. You're going to have Nerlens Noel backing him up. You still got Taj Gibson who can back up both a 4 or a 5. You still got to get Obi Toppin some playing time, right? So I don't expect Jericho Sims to be able to get into that rotation this year. I do expect him to get a lot of reps in the G League. I do expect him to get a lot of reps in the G League and get more development. And when he does that, next summer, he comes back and plays in the Summer League again. And then I can see the possibility of him being one of the 3 centers we play with and getting some time at the 5 next season. But this season, he's already on a 2-way deal. I think that's appropriate. He's going to spend most of his time in the G League unless we get injuries. You can get Nerlens hurt. You can get Mitch hurt. Then you might be forced to use him now. I'm not as concerned with that. But I think he's going to spend a lot of time in the G League, which is going to be good for him. It's going to be good for him. So I don't want to put a ceiling on how good this guy could be because there's just no telling. He could be Buck Williams. He could be worse. He could be better. I mean, and Buck Williams was a really good player. All NBA defense multiple times. Up there, solid rebounder, consistent rebounder, 1,000 rebounds a year, multiple times, both for the Nets and the Portland Trailblazers. So if we could get that out of him, we'd be in really good shape. But we got to see. So I don't want to put a cap on how good he could be. I think the G League reps he's going to get and the development he's going to get there because the Knicks has a very good culture and organization and development. So let's see how he does. Quentin Grimes was also 8 of 20 from the field, just like Obi Toppin. Not tremendous, 40% from the field, but he shot 43% from 3. He had, again, 6 boards, 4 assists, 2 fouls, contributes to winning. He had 28 points. He did take 20 shots, but I'm glad he did. He's feeling you can see he's much more comfortable in the offense. He's much more comfortable finding the spots. The thing about Quentin Grimes, he knows already where his shots come from. He knows where his favorite spots on the floor are, and he gets there. Okay, and he gets those spots. He doesn't force it, even though he took 20 shots. He did force a couple because it was like heat checks because he was splashing it, man. And so like I said, 43% from 3. He was above 40% in college from 3, and we expect that to translate. I'm expecting him to be a 40% 3-point shooter in the NBA. As we said, we weren't worried about the early shooting struggles that he had this week. He's just too good of a shooter. He's fundamentally sound on the shot. His shot is not broken. And he's not even talking about broken shot. It's just a matter of time before he starts getting him. I like his competitive attitude. I love that. Really good team player as well. I just like this kid. So I think he's going to be, we liked him, I mean, y'all know that Raw Hebrew said it was going to be Grimes and McBride, right? So I knew we were picking those 2 guys. I didn't know they were going to be late first and second rounders, but those are the 2 guys I felt they were targeting. And there's a reason for that. This kid is going to be really good. There were Allen Houston vibes when he shoots the jump shot, but Allen Houston, all-time great Knick. So we can't really push too much that Grimes is going to be better than him, but I think Grimes has a more fuller all-round game than Houston did. I mean, he's more of a playmaker, than Houston was. He is certainly more of a rebounder from the guard spot than Houston was. He's a really tough rebounder from the 2 guard spot. And so that contributes to holding teams to 1 shot. What we happened to us a couple of times this past season, and what happened to us a lot in previous seasons, is we would give up too many offensive rebounds, right? With a guy like Grimes, when you're going to get a guy from the guard spot that's going to help you, and RJ also is a strong rebounder from the wing spot as well, that will help limit teams to 1 shot. One of the things that Marcus Camby used to bring to the Knicks when he played for us was he was an excellent defensive rebounder. And so it was really good that our opposing teams would oftentimes just get 1 shot, and our Marcus were getting that rebound. And that was it. 1 shot, done. See? And so the more times you can hold the team to 1 shot, that's really good. That counts as a stop. And what we were saying all last year still counts. If you got 3 stops in a row on a good defensive team, especially with the Knicks, that's going to help us a lot to get rolling and win a lot of basketball games when you can get 3 stops in a row. And guys that can go get that defensive rebound to limit the other team to just 1 shot, that's going to help a lot. So this is why I like a Quentin Grimes. Um, I don't know how Tom's going to do it. People are expecting him to change. He doesn't change that much. Guys like him don't change a whole lot. They might tweak a little bit. Like I said, I can see him giving Obi more minutes, cutting down a little bit. I mean, a little bit on Julius Randle to 32 minutes a game. I can see that. I can see him giving the same thing with RJ, 32 minutes a game and splitting time with Burks, and then you're going to have Evan Fournier, who is not an 82 game a year guy. And Evan Fournier is another guy. If you get 72 games out of Evan Fournier, that's a good season for him. So you're going to get opportunity. Your IQs, your Grimes are going to get opportunities to play because Fournier is not going to play 82 games. So you get opportunities to play. He's going to be out for this one, sprained ankles, pulled this, whatever. You're going to see that. So I don't know, but Tom's going to want to push his top 9 guys a lot of minutes. It's going to be tough. Somebody's going to say, I don't know how they're going to do it, but you got to get Grimes some minutes. You got to get this kid some minutes. He's just that good. He's going to help us win. Now, start the show with Deuce. He would just respond. Cleveland, again, you're playing against grizzled veterans a lot of times. Some of these guys in the summer league ain't no young kids that's just coming out of school. Some of these guys played in Europe. They played in different places of the world. They've been in the NBA before, and they're trying to make a comeback. And they know what they're doing, and they're trying to fight for scratch for a contract. And so that's a desperation situation. And they play hard. And so there was a couple of guys on Cleveland that were really, there was one guy, he was really, acting like he was Trae Young or something and shaking his shoulders and acting a fool and all that. Which one of them guys? I think it was Lamar Stevens. Yeah, Lamar Stevens ended with 21 points. It was him. And then you had another guy, Broderick Thomas. He was pretty good. Jalen Hands, another guy, but he didn't play that much. I mean, he wasn't all that. But it was really Thomas and Stevens that were really the damage guys there. But they was some of them were splashing some threes. And especially in Blewett, this guy Blewett was splashing some threes. But McBride would just calmly, methodically come back, splash his own. And put the clamps on when necessary. He had a block. This is a guy from the guard spot that blocks shots at 6'2". Well, he's got the 6'9" wingspan, but he could really block shots, man. And so you got that. He had 5 assists. He had 4 rebounds. He had the block. He had 2 steals. One of his steals, I don't know who it was, had the ball in the corner. And McBride is just guarding him in the corner. Guy had the nerve to try to put the ball in front of McBride's face. He just snatched the ball out of his hand. It's just going the other way, man. So, and then, 9 of 14. He shot 64% from the field. He shot 63% from 3. Of course, we can't expect that all the time, although he was perfect earlier this week. Efficient. We're in good hands with McBride. Deuce is our future point guard. He really is. He's our future point guard. Right now, they're grooming IQ because he's a veteran. Tibbs likes him. Veteran second year, but Tibbs trusts IQ. And so IQ's going to play a lot of minutes at point guard when Kemba's out. But don't sleep on Deuce. I'm telling you. Especially you get in a competitive training camp, don't sleep on Deuce. He's going to be the long-term solution. He is the long-term solution at point guard for the New York Knicks. My problem, I'm going to be honest with y'all. I like defense. I just love defense. That's why I was I'm not there was another brother that's the president of Frank Hive, and I said I'm the vice president of Frank Hive. He couldn't play offense that well. He didn't have all that confidence and all that. But the defense, that's what gets my attention. That's why I like Tom Thibodeau so much. And watching, when I first saw the videos of Miles McBride at West Virginia, my goodness. And then to watch him hit shots off the dribble. This is our guy. This is our point guard. This is our playmaker. he was hitting Obi Toppin. He's been doing it all week. If you notice, he'll get a rebound and he looks up and he sees Obi running and he'll throw the full court pass. The thing that Lonzo Ball does that a lot of people wanted Ball to come to the Knicks because he was doing stuff like that, Deuce does. Okay, he does. He'll see a couple of times he caught a long, like a 3/4 court pass to Obi when Obi had somebody sealed, right? Got the ball to him and Obi would miss the shot. Obi missed a couple of chippies like that. But Deuce is the man. He's the guy. Poised, very, very poised, never rattled, tough as nails. This is our guy. So he was the MVP to me. Even though McBride had 28 points, Deuce was the man. If you saw the game, you know what I'm saying. Deuce was the man. Deuce was the man in that game. Okay. And this is no IQ playing. So Deuce ain't got to. Deuce defers to Emmanuel Quickly. You notice when Emmanuel Quickly was out there with him, he was deferring to Emmanuel Quickly. He was running into the corner, picking his spots. That's what he was doing all week. This is a chance for us to see him as the guy with the ball in his hand. All right. I'm liking this. What I'm liking tonight though, when they play Atlanta is, I don't know. I'm thinking that, Sharif Cooper is going to play. I'm thinking Sharif is going to play. Sharif is not, he's not Trae Young, but he can get to the basket at will. He's quick as Trae Young, or quick as anybody with a basketball in his hand. This is going to be a good test to see how Deuce might do if you had to play him against a Trae Young. You understand? So this is going to be a good test tonight. But this weekend, Saturday night, the whole week, Friday night, let's just call, Deuce laid a stinker on Friday night. But for the whole week, this guy's been lights out. He really has. And again, against Cleveland, it was really efficient, man. Efficient. He only took 14 shots. Had 23 points. He took 14 shots. And that's been the theme the whole week, pretty much. Okay? Except Friday. That was the only time he really didn't do it. And he only took 14 shots then. He just wasn't hitting nothing. But the defense, the ball movement, the movement without the basketball. Every facet of the basketball game. Now, a lot of guys like the They need to work on this, need to work on that. Every player. There's no player in the NBA that wants to be really good. That LeBron James is still trying to get better, believe it or not. This is the guy at the top of the pile. He's still trying to get better. He's still trying to improve his game. Every player does that when they want to get good. So yes, there's things he could work on, obviously. But he's got an all-round game, a very tight all-round game. And he's a rookie. So I don't know. They're going to have to find some minutes for him. But tonight is the last game. They're playing Atlanta tonight. And I think this is the last game of the summer league. Pray nobody gets hurt. But I think you're going to see Miles McBride start again at the point guard spot tonight. They're going to probably sit IQ. I don't know if they sit Obi. I would want to play Obi as many minutes as I can, get him acclimated. So we'll see what happens. But we're going to have a review of the summer league after tonight's game. We'll talk about the overall progress, or lack thereof, that some players made in the summer league for the New York Knicks. We'll talk about that after the game tonight, probably tomorrow. So this weekend was a good weekend for the Knicks. Good development. Obi Toppin is getting great benefits. Grimes is showing what he could do. And I already, hyped up Deuce. Deuce is the man right here. Sims is really solid. And like I said, he probably spent a lot of time in the G League this year. It's going to be good for him. He's going to be more polished. You're going to see better even Jericho Sims next summer, than you're seeing this summer. He's going to be much more polished. And so, this is a good time to be in Knicks Nation. We really are in good shape. The Don has set the table. Tom Thibodeau has cooked the meals. We're in good shape. We really are. So, I hope you guys have a good Monday. I did this early today because I'm going to be busy on the road doing this and that today. So I wanted to get this out before I left. And so please have a good Monday. Be safe out there. Shalom.